There are several key reasons for this, and each reveals something important about God's nature and His purpose for those He calls. First, God allows His prophets and servants to suffer in order to test and strengthen their faith. Faith is not proven in comfort but in hardship. Before Abraham could be called the father of faith, he had to wait for years for the promised child, even when his body was as good as dead. Job, though a righteous man, was allowed to lose everything, his wealth, health, and children, just to prove his faithfulness to God. In the end, God restored him and made him greater than before. So suffering becomes a test that refines true faith and separates genuine trust from shallow belief. Second, suffering prepares God's servants for greater responsibilities. Many of the people God used mightily were trained through pain. Joseph was sold as a slave, falsely accused, and imprisoned for years before God made him governor of Egypt. Moses fled Egypt and lived in the desert for 40 years before God called him to lead Israel out of bondage. David was anointed king but had to live as a fugitive for years, running from Saul before he finally sat on the throne. Their suffering trained them in humility, patience, and obedience, qualities necessary to handle greatness without pride. Third, God allows His prophets to suffer so that they can understand and comfort others who are suffering. A person who has never been through pain cannot truly comfort others who are hurting. Prophet Jeremiah was called the weeping prophet because of the deep sorrow he carried for his people. His tears helped him speak God's message with compassion. Even Jesus, the Son of God, was described in Isaiah 53 as a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. Through his suffering, he learned obedience and became a merciful high priest who understands our pain. Another reason is that God uses suffering to reveal His glory and power. When everything seems hopeless and God steps in, the world sees that the victory is not by human strength but by His divine hand. For example, Daniel was thrown into the lion's den before God rescued him. The 3 Hebrew boys were cast into a fiery furnace before God appeared in the fire and protected them. Elijah suffered hunger during the drought before God miraculously fed him through ravens and a widow's little meal. Each miracle came after a moment of great trial, showing that God's timing is perfect and His deliverance undeniable. Lastly, God allows suffering to build eternal reward. In His wisdom, God sees beyond this life. The temporary pains His servants endure on earth are preparing them for eternal glory. Paul said in Romans 8 verse 18, "I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." Every tear, every trial, and every delay adds to a greater testimony and a lasting crown in heaven. So, when God allows His prophets and servants to suffer, it is not because He has abandoned them. Rather, it is because